The Galactic Combat Academy stretched before them, a cathedral of war carved from gleaming titanium and discipline. 300 meters of mirror-polished flooring reflected the glow of floating orbs that drifted lazily beneath a shadow-drowned ceiling. Every echo of boots and breath belonged to beings from 17 different worlds, gathered here for one reason: to learn how to fight. At the front stood Instructor Krithal, 7 feet of scaled dominance. His Zinthari hide shimmered like oil caught in sunlight, shifting hues as he moved. When his mandibles clicked, a translator collar hummed to life, turning alien tones into perfect galactic standard. "Today," he announced, his voice carrying across the chamber, "we examine the limits of bipedal combat." Among the recruits, Elsa adjusted her stance. Her dark hair was tied in a severe bun. Gray eyes locked on every flicker of the instructor's tail. She was human, one of only 5 in a sea of hundreds. 3 months at the academy had taught her many things, but one lesson stood out. Humanity's reputation preceded them. They were known not for strength or size, but for defiance, the kind that rewrote rules through sheer refusal to yield. Beside her, Zaya shifted impatiently. His powerful frame hummed with coiled energy, the kind that demanded release. He'd been her sparring partner since day one, and Elsa could tell exactly what was running through his mind. He was ready for a fight. Krithal raised a clawed hand, summoning a holographic display. Beams of light painted the air with warriors of every known species, each wielding weapons born from evolution itself. "Every species fights as it was designed," he explained. "The Zinthari strike with tails. The Vexter channel strength through their forearms. The crystalline shardlings forge blades of light." His compound eyes swept over the recruits. "But across 10,000 years of battle, one truth has never been broken. No bipedal being can effectively wield 2 melee weapons at once." Zaya stiffened. Elsa noticed it instantly. Then, in a voice that cut through the hum of the hall, he said, "Permission to speak." The instructor turned, scales rippling with faint amusement. "The human wishes to challenge proven biological fact?" Zaya met his gaze. "Not challenge, sir. Demonstrate otherwise." Silence fell. 300 recruits turned to stare at the audacious human who dared to question 10 millennia of doctrine. Krethal's mandibles clicked again. This time the translator didn't bother interpreting, but the tone was unmistakable. Laughter. "Very well," the instructor rumbled. "Retrieve 2 practice blades." Zaya's eyes burned with determination as he strode toward the armory. Zaya returned moments later, twin practice blades gleaming beneath the training lights. Each sword curved with perfect symmetry, balanced for speed, weighted for control. Though designed to prevent lethal injury, Elsa knew they could still leave bruises deep enough to remember. He handed one hilt first to her. "Ready?" he asked quietly. She smiled, a sharp, knowing curve of the lips. "Always." They walked to the center of the hall, the crowd parting around them like waves before a storm. Krethal's voice resonated through the silence. "You will spar against Cadet, Elsa. Show us this. Defiance of biology." Zaya nodded once and took his stance. Left foot forward, knees bent, both blades angled in opposite directions. It was a posture that spoke of discipline and danger, something alien yet ancient. Elsa drew her own weapon, a single long blade that demanded both hands and every ounce of focus. "Begin," Krethal commanded. Elsa moved first, lunging straight for Zaya's center line. The right-hand sword flashed, deflecting the attack with effortless precision. His left blade followed low, forcing her backward. The air filled with the hum of movement, the hiss of friction, and the echo of impact. Each motion was poetry. Each strike a heartbeat. Zaya's hands moved independently, weaving a lattice of steel that no logic could untangle. His right parried while his left countered. His left defended while his right attacked. It was harmony made visible, an impossible dance of instinct and will. Elsa pressed harder, her strikes faster, sharper, testing the rhythm of his defense. Sparks danced between their blades, the sound of each clash ringing like distant thunder. Yet no matter how complex her combinations, Zaya adapted, his body flowing as though guided by an unseen melody. The recruits watched in silent awe. Even Krethal's tail, usually still, flicked once, a rare display of fascination. Zaya's blades blurred into motion, his focus absolute. For a heartbeat, Elsa glimpsed something more than technique. She saw what humanity truly was, a species that refused to bow to limits. She launched a powerful series of slashes meant to overwhelm him. But Zaya shifted, his body moving with preternatural balance. His left blade caught her high strike. His right swept across her exposed side. Elsa barely managed to deflect the follow-up, her pulse pounding. Then Zaya surged forward. His attacks came in waves, high, low, crossing arcs that merged offense and defense into one fluid storm. His blades didn't follow logic. They followed purpose. Every movement had intent, every motion a lesson written in steel. Elsa's arms trembled as she met his final strike, and then, with a controlled breath, she dropped her blade to the ground. The universal sign of yield. The hall was silent except for their ragged breathing. Elsa's chest rose and fell, sweat glistening on her forehead, but her eyes gleamed with pride. Krethal stepped forward, his massive shadow falling over them both. His scales shifted through colors no human had a name for. That, he said slowly, has no classification in the Academy's archives. Zaya stood tall, blades crossed before him in silent salute. Despite the burn in his muscles, his expression was calm, measured. On Earth, he began, his voice carrying across the vast hall. We call it Nitan Ichi-ryu, the two heavens style, founded by Miyamoto Musashi. We call it the Renaissance rapier and dagger form. The escrimadores of the Philippines call it double-stick combat. Different names, same truth. He turned slowly, meeting the gaze of every alien recruit in the room. We call it the human refusal to believe in impossible. A ripple of murmurs ran through the crowd. The Vexter cadets exchanged uneasy glances, their crystalline counterparts flashing prismatic light and curiosity. One of the Vexter raised a forearm, its translator chirping, but the neural pathways required for such coordination, impossible without centuries of adaptation. Elsa stepped forward, her tone firm yet warm. We don't have centuries. Humanity doesn't evolve that way. We innovate, adapt, and break the barriers we're told to respect. She looked to Zaya, and he finished her thought without missing a beat. Redefined can't. The words hung in the air, heavy and electric. Even the hum of the training light seemed to pause, waiting for Krethal's response. The instructor's compound eyes shifted from Zaya to Elsa, then back again. Slowly, his scales darkened to a deep cobalt hue, one that the translator interpreted in a single word: respect. It appears, Krethal said at last, his voice a low rumble, the Academy's doctrine is incomplete. Humans, you will demonstrate these techniques to the class. The galaxy may yet have something to learn from your defiance. The recruits erupted into murmurs and applause, dozens of alien voices blending in a symphony of curiosity and awe. For the first time, Elsa and Zaya were not seen as fragile newcomers from an underdeveloped world. They were pioneers. Elsa leaned close, lowering her voice so only Zaya could hear. You realize you just volunteered us to teach 300 aliens how to dual-wield, right? Zia grinned, flipping one blade and catching it with effortless ease. Good. Let them learn what happens when someone tells a human something's impossible. As laughter rippled through the chamber, Krethal began recalibrating the day's lesson plan. The holographic boards shifted, already adapting to a new truth. And in that shining hall, far from the blue cradle of their homeworld, humanity carved another line into the story of the stars. Not through dominance or ancient wisdom, but through something far more enduring, the unbreakable will to reach beyond limits. Because for humans, impossible had never been a barrier. It was an invitation.